Alrighty. Welcome to the first international unmeeting being hosted here at the Australian SSC in Melbourne. My name is Drew and I am the new store opening coordinator here in Australia. I'm very excited to be doing this, especially to our entire global Lululemon family. I'd like to welcome you all, especially those joining us live stream. We have a whole bunch of guests for us here today. We have a really exciting 30 minutes coming up. Something that I'd like to do in a Lululemon fashion is start this meeting off with an international clearing. I mean, why not? Later on in the show today, we have Christine Day and Chip and the board members coming, and they are fresh off the plane. They're actually not even here yet. So we're going to be having Chip and Christine kind of rolling in last minute here, and we're going to go with it. We might get to know the Australian senior leadership team a little bit better, but that's okay. What I want everybody to know is that Chip and Christine and the board members are on their way, and we're really excited for them to come in and to chat with them. Right off the bat here, I am going to hand it off to Alexei, who we'll get to know a little bit better. Come on over. And she's going to ground us for this meeting. We planned this. Yeah. She's going to ground us for this meeting, and then we're going to chat with the Australian SLT.
Thanks, Drew.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for joining us today. So I just wanted to ground us and acknowledge that something is going on for us right now, and before we jump into our meeting and what we had planned, acknowledge that and recognise that everybody is working really hard on it, from the SSC in Vancouver to our DCs and to all of our stores and to all of you guys, to really acknowledge that and thank you. We also know that there's a lot of media coverage on us at the moment, and that some of the facts that are out there aren't completely accurate. We also don't have all of the answers yet, and we're working really hard to find out what they are, and as soon as we have more information, we will be communicating that through to you. Christine will address this personally and directly to you later on in the meeting, but it's a really great opportunity for us to know that this is part of our manifesto. Life is full of setbacks, and it's who each and every one of us as leaders is, and who we communicate to be, who we plan to be through this, that determines how we will succeed and get over this. It is a hurdle that we will get over. We also will proceed with our unmeeting as planned. We do have the board here, and we're really excited to share with all of you and them a little piece of Australia. Thank you very much, Drew.
Awesome. Thanks, Alexei. So right off the bat here, we're going to get to know our Australian senior leadership team. We will be joined by David Lawn as he comes in, and he is the CEO for the Australian and New Zealand business. On my right side, I have Stephen Christou, who is the financial controller for us, and Alexei O'Brien, who is the general manager, and Gordon Devon, who is the general manager of merchandise. So what we're going to do here now is they're going to give us a little bit of an update on the Australian business, so that everybody can get to know us a little bit better and what we're up to.
Okay, so as Drew introduced me, I am Stephen Christou, the financial controller, but I also oversee obviously our strategic planning, so our FP&A, financial reporting, our leasing of our stores and SSCs and DCs, and also have our distribution and logistics reporting into me, so it's a fairly broad role. I've been tasked with giving a quick overview of our 2012 and 2013 financials, and also what I'm working on with Canada. So for 2012, Australia and New Zealand consisted of 24 stores and 2 resort stores. Sales for 2012 were $62.8 million, which was growth of 72% on 2011. This was a full year comp of 20%. Operating income for 2012 was $7 million, which was an increase of $4.8 million, which, when you put it into percentage growth, that's 213% growth on the previous year, which is outstanding. 2013, we are opening an additional 5 stores, and we're relocating 2 of our most productive stores, being Bondi and Chadstone. Our sales budget for 2013 is $87.1 million, being growth of 39% on 2012. Our budgeted operating income for 2013 is $11.1 million, which is growth of 59%. So what I'm currently working on with Canada is there's a lot of systems upgrades that Australia needs, which are Oracle, Hyperion, Workday, AAL, order management, and the list goes on. Constantly working with Chris Tam, our financial planning and analysis team in Canada, and David Negus' financial reporting teams. And as part of my leadership development, I'm currently taking part in the Stand, which is a leadership program over in Canada, and working with a team on the new market strategy. I'll now hand over to Alexei, who can go through what she does and her role at Lululemon.
Thanks, Stephen. So I am the General Manager for store operations and have e-com stores, training, people potential. Absolutely love my job. I wanted to flow on from Stephen's communication around our financial results and really acknowledge our stores for the results in Q4 that they had their focus on community. We did 101% to yoga spend in Q4, which is a dramatic improvement over our Q3 results. We also opened a new baby to the Lululemon family last week at High Point. It's now our biggest store in Australia, and it's my home store out west. So very excited to have them join the family. This week we also celebrated our 5-year anniversary in Sydney with a yoga class on top of the Museum of Contemporary Arts in Sydney. We had over 220 people at the yoga class overlooking the Sydney Opera House and underneath the Harbour Bridge. It was absolutely beautiful. And we ended up turning over 100 people away. It was such a cool event. E-com, we have also just launched our .co.nz site, and it is a really hyper-local experience. I want to shout out to Sheena and her team on the ground here, but also to Scott and Steph on the ground in Vancouver. We couldn't have done it without you guys. In terms of community, digital and brand, we have Cirque du Soleil in town in Melbourne, and we have created a relationship with their athletes, and we're taking our ambassadors down to do yoga classes with their athletes, and they're absolutely loving it. So it's a lot of fun with our teams. We've also been working really closely with Nancy Richardson and Corey Bayers. We've got 2 of our guys, Christy and Matt, over in North America at the moment doing training for 3 weeks with their teams. We're also working with Rachel and her community team and the guys from Wonderlust to bring Wonderlust to Australia in the next 12 months. So that's a really exciting initiative that we're working on. Amanda Kasgar from New York is also coming to Australia to support in onboarding some of our new community team this year. So that's how we're working with the North Americans to bring extra training and insights to our team down here as well. We're also working on a sustainability initiative that we're really proud of. We've figured out and discovered a new way to use Luon to sweat. Beck Pieper has developed a relationship with a punching bag manufacturer that we're going to be able to repurpose our damages and fill up punching bags with our damaged products. So that's a really exciting initiative. We have absolutely loved working with the SSC teams in Vancouver this year. You guys have been a real stand for us. You've been our coaches. It's helped us feel like we are much closer to you and that we really are part of the Lululemon family. And we are elevating the world from down under. And I have a little video to show you now. Short teaser. So I'd like to now hand over to Gordon Devon.
Thanks. It's on, great. G'day. So, as I was introduced before, I'm the GMM here in Australia, and what that means is that I have the privilege of leading an incredibly passionate and talented team that manages planning, buying, exit inventory, store design, and visual presentation. I thought I'd start with a few key statistics about our business and our market here. We have now 28 stores across Australia and New Zealand. You just saw our most recent store there the High Point store. Australia is a market, an area that is approximately the same size as the United States of America. And despite having brand awareness of sub 15%, we've been able to build an incredibly successful and a profitable business here. And what amazes me about that from a merchandise perspective is that we've been able to do that on the back of delivering some great product at the wrong time into this marketplace. And that really is our key challenge. From a merchandise perspective, that's our key challenge moving forward. It's about dealing with reverse seasonality. And what that means is, how do we deal with the fact that when it's getting cold and wet in Canada, it's hot and dry here, and really hot and dry, as you know, in Melbourne this year. And equally, when it's warming up there, it's getting cooler here. We've got away with it until now, but getting this right moving forward really is going to be the key driver for our business to continue to deliver the sort of comp growth that have got us to where we are. From a strategic level, what this means is that we really need to stop accepting mediocrity. It means that we need to start to hold hands with our colleagues in Vancouver to deliver the right shapes, weights, colours at the right time for our guest in this marketplace. It means that we're focused on being the first with technical innovation, with new shapes every season, and making sure that we've got the appropriate palettes in our stores at the right time. And it's about being bold, which means taking risks, putting our money where our mouth is, supporting newness with intent, and building into our future through increasing the average store size and the capacity for our stores as well. At an operational level, what this means is that we're really working in partnership with our colleagues in Vancouver. We work to the same go-to-market process and timetable, and we're now working close at every single step to ensure that we improve the guest experience through this. And we're providing empowering information, which means that we're giving our partners in design, in planning, and in merchandise with the salient pieces of information at the right time to enable us to give our guests what she doesn't even know she wants from us yet. And if we do this, we know we're going to have a more successful business. And in our language, what success means is a brand that is as well known and loved in Australia and New Zealand as it is in Canada, a process where the needs of our guests are a part of every single conversation, a business that is providing information and inspiration back to the Vancouver team that's instrumental in the growth of this brand on a global level, and a business that operates as one team no matter regardless of geography, sorry. Thank you. Drew.
Thank you very much, guys. That was great. We're now going to have Christine Day come. Yay! All right, this is very exciting. Fresh off the plane, Christine Day is here.
That and a bad driver, but I made it.
That's okay. All right, talk to us, Christine.
Well, what I want to talk about first is a little manifesto that I was reading to myself this morning, which is life is full of setbacks and success is determined by how you handle setbacks. So I'm very present at the moment to the setback we've had on Luon, as I'm sure all of you are, and the hard work we had to go through to pull from our stores. And we've had a great run. Last year we had a little bit of a problem with dye, and we worked together with our fabric manufacturers, and we worked through that, and we solved it, and we can now stand behind all the great colors in our store. And I don't view this as any different. It's unfortunate we don't have all the answers yet today, what has happened and what went wrong. And it took a big leap of faith for us to pull all of this product without having those answers, without at this point in time knowing how big the problem is for us. But sometimes doing the right thing is the hardest thing. And who we don't want to be as a company when we grow up is somebody who sold out, right? That's what happens to everybody else. And I know as a leader what I get up to do every day, and I know you do too because it's what you believe in, is that we're here to do the right thing. We're here to have it be different. We're here not to have it be that moment. And so that, and our leadership is what we're standing in together today, is being all in doing the right thing, being a stand for our guests, being a stand for the values of Lululemon, and being a stand for the quality that we are, because it is what differentiates us in the marketplace. If we continue just to let the quality go down, we wouldn't have that bright, shiny future that all of us are here to create. So I know it's hard to be on the front lines without all the answers, But the answer I want you to know most of all is to have faith that we're always going to make the right decision for our guests and for the company and for the brand for the future. And that's the answer that you need to hold here most of all. And I know that working together, we have a lot of smart, bright people, and we have great partnerships. So we'll get through this, and we'll get that great Luon back in our customers' hands, and it'll be the Luon that we stand behind and know and love. Is that clear for everyone? Yeah. Okay. So I think we're going to play a little quarterly business review video, because what we do in the support center is take a look across our business every quarter and look across the initiatives that are creating our future. So it's both existing business and the bridge to the future business that we're always looking at. And so I'm going to play the video, and then we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that we're up to in creating that future. So as you can see, we're up to some pretty fun things, and I am always so impressed that most of the time I don't even know what half of those are, because, and I was actually a little offended I wasn't invited to the inaugural ball that our Washington, D.C. stores hosted with the First Lady. Because there's so many amazing things that everyone is creating every day, and the beautiful, beautiful thing about the essence of our company is it's not SSC supported and directed and controlled. You know, I am not the big brain behind the company, and Chip probably was in the beginning. But what happens now is it's the talent of all of you that create such amazing things and localized guest experiences. And what we're up to is building a global company that leverages that. Being the first brand that actually has gone global with a great brand story, great brand values, and the same outcomes, but very unique, localized, authentic market expressions in every store. So not 300 stores. It's one store 300 times, made up by magical people being entrepreneurial in their communities, where your talents in building this company matter, and where your contributions and your goals and vision and contribution to the brand that we become are the essence of the company. So as we build a global company, that's our vision. And so that means it will be as unique in Shanghai as it is here in Australia, and that you can express the brand locally in a way that relates to their guest. And so that is a time of change for us. We've built this North American brand. There is a brand ethos and essence that's important that we're taking around the world. And our clothing expresses that most of all. But we have to be right in every market. And what's been so great about Australia is you guys have taught us so much. You've taught us how to expand by some ways hiring great leaders and getting out of the way, and recreating that entrepreneurial experience over and over and over again. You've taught us what we need to do in one of the most complex markets, being counter-seasonal, but you have the same and a deep athletic market here, and people who love water to sport. So we've learned new things, and we've learned what we can do better to support markets as they're growing. and to recreate Lululemon in its best way possible. So I'm so proud to be here today sharing with our board what that future can look like as we build Lululemon globally. And our job at the support center is exactly that, to support and create the space for you guys to be amazing in every market that we touch around the world. But everybody loves Lululemon for the same reason. And that's what we're up to. So now I think we have some questions.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for that insight. I'm feeling super clear on what the quarter looked like for the entire company last quarter. We do have some questions coming from Australia and New Zealand. The first question is actually from Kat here in finance at our Melbourne SSC, and it's going to come up for us on the screen, and then we'll get you to answer it.
I'm excited about how quickly Lululemon is growing around the world. My question to you is how you think we can mitigate the risk of losing our culture through this globalization process.
So how do we not lose our culture?
Mm-hmm.
I hear that. Oh, you know, the great thing is I'm actually not the only one responsible. All of you guys are. And it's in each of us, right? You are Lululemon. The law of attraction has made sure that everyone comes here already is the culture. And you might need to learn our way of doing Lululemon and you know, what's unique to the business processes of Lululemon. But at the end of the day, the culture lives in each of you, not just in me. So it's not just my job alone, and I'm really glad I'm in it with all of you guys, because you actually create it more every day in all the decisions you make than I do. So my question is back to you guys. How are you going to do it? Mm-hmm. And I know it's through a very Lululemon way, and it's keeping ourselves honest in communication, giving that straight talk and direct feedback, and creating a space for others to perform. So being great leaders of ourselves, of others, and of our organizations. And when we do our jobs well, we create great culture. And it means, like even like this week, making the tough calls, and standing, even when it's hard, for the right thing. That, more than anything else, will keep our culture. And it's not being afraid to take risks. I also want to say that, because so many companies, the culture disappears because they get afraid. And they try to put controls and processes and things in place that actually then prevent mistakes from happening, but it also then also the cost is the freedom of creation and possibility, and that's who we are every day, and we're resilient. We know how to live through these setbacks to get to the true right next thing we need to do.
Awesome. Okay, we have another question coming from us, actually from New Zealand, from Debs.
Hi Christine, it's Debs from Britomart. My question to you is, what is your really super fun go-to story when you're meeting new people at a party, that really cool thing that you did one time that you just love telling people?
Is that another way of asking what's my most embarrassing moment? There's way too many of those. Super fun, cool, about me story. Well, I like to tell stories about my spouse more than myself. I was like, it's not even fun to tell your own.
You can tell us one of those.
Gosh, I've done so many stupid things personally, but I like anything personally that's really a good laugh, and I really do think we all make mistakes or have those moments, and I think being really approachable is very important to me. So, boy, it would take me too long to tell one of those stories, but it usually is something involving travel for me. Like there was a time I walked into the wrong hotel room thinking I was in a meeting room, and I ate a guy's breakfast. And he was sitting on the couch next to me and trying to figure out how to ask me what I was doing in his hotel room. So that was truly one of the most embarrassing moments of my life, where I said, gosh, I wonder where everybody else is. And he said, I'm still trying to figure out who the F you are. And I had to exit that situation gracefully. So there you go, one of my most embarrassing moments.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I probably will meet myself in a party story later in life is what I think has happened, because I'm sure that rumor about that guy telling about the woman in his hotel room is going around.
Yeah, it'll go full circle. Yeah, that's awesome. We have one more question coming from Heidi at our Warringah store.
I'm Heidi, and I'm an educator at the Warringah store in Sydney, and I want to know, what will Lululemon's most talked about accomplishment be in 10 years' time?
The most talked about?
The most talked about accomplishment in 10 years' time.
Oh. We actually did a little poster series for Chip on this and accomplishments as we were looking at our future. And I think there's so many bright things in 10 years' time. We would love to really change the world through yoga and landmark and have the UN say, this is actually our peacekeeping mission instead of armed forces.
Awesome. Great. Well, those are great questions. Thank you, everybody from Australia and New Zealand. Thank you for your insight into the quarter we just had. We're now going to invite Chip to come up and introduce some of our board members that we have here joining us in Australia.
All right. Woohoo, Chip!
There you go. Awesome.
Thanks, Christine. Thank you. I'm honored to be here again. I feel this is, again, you're my 14-year-old baby that's kind of like going to parties at night, and I don't have much control over it. And but you're a great child, and thank you. We have an amazing board of directors, and what you have to get from a board of directors is they're really people that don't need to be doing this. They're people that are out for something bigger in their life and giving back without expectation. What they get out of it is a great education from learning from people like you about how a different business should be run. And given our results of being the #1 sales per square foot apparel company in the world, you definitely have something to give back to the world yourself. And so it's a nice fit between the two of you. I'd like to introduce them one at a time in the order that I see them. Jerry Straitsky was the CEO of Mass Industries, a big manufacturing company for like Victoria's Secret and the Limited, and is presently the CEO of Coach handbags. Jerry? Now, I'm unsure whether, Jerry, I'm going to just ask you, what is your favorite go-to sport? What's your favorite go-to sweat?
3 times a day. 3 times a day. 3 times a week, Chip. That's probably the thing I enjoy the most. It's a great way to start the day and be energized throughout the day.
Good. Soul Cycle, or where do you go to?
At the Reebok Gym, Upper West
great.
Side, New York
Okay.
City. It's an amazing gym in New York City. If you're there, you should visit. And spinning every day of the week, yoga every day of the week, multiple times through the day. So that's where I go to sweat.
Okay, good. Jerry's got a wife and 3 kids, 2 girls, which are definitely our market. Speaking of a guy with a lot of experience in our company, it's our most recent board acquisition, I guess. Bill with 3 daughters and a wife, and probably where most is he's actually a president of a couple of company areas within American Express and has lots of experience in what women buy.
Is that an athletic question?
Yeah.
So I was going to answer the question.
Please do.
To Jerry, which is P90X, and then shopping with my daughters and wife at Lululemon.
That's great. Thanks, Bill. Next is Robert Ben Susan. I met Robert through a friend of mine who, when I was looking for somebody from Europe who knew something about apparel industry, had been an ex-CEO, had opened up retail stores in Europe, America, and Asia. The ex-CEO of Jimmy Choo and LK Bennett, which is a UK company just with 150 stores expanding fast. Robert Ben Susan. And Robert, how do you sweat? This is going to be a good one.
Sunbathing. But, I was born in Morocco, so I'm a guy from the sea, and I live in London, so it's very hard. And finally, after 3 years, I found a swimming pool. And now I'm doing that about 3 times a week also, so I don't sweat the same way.
But I just like to say about Robert, I'm basically a chain smoker up until about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And because of his coming onto our board and being what we are to him, he's quit smoking, and it's made a big change in his life. I can see he looks so much healthier. Yeah. Thank you, Robert. Hi, Emily. Emily. actually is the CEO of Instagram right now, was working under Sheryl Sandberg at Facebook, and has got a big job ahead of her. And how do you sweat, Emily?
Anything competitive. But actually, it's training for SUIs.
Cool.
Which has become like a community thing. In fact, my work run club is running right now. So it's been really fun.
Cool. Thanks, Emily. And one of my favorite women in the world, Marty Morfitt, marathon runner, golfer, skier, all-around athlete, serial entrepreneur, and a serial CEO, definitely. Marty, how do you sweat?
Thanks, Chip. Well, besides hauling butt behind you doing stores in Sydney, I think my favorite way to sweat is karate and kickboxing, because you get to hit things and yell.
Things your husband won't let you do to him. An amazing man, the former CFO of Starbucks, and lots of experience in retail, especially in the food business before Starbucks, and is now presently working as a consultant with Starbucks, and we're thrilled to have him, our lead director and former head of our audit committee and now head of our nominating committee, Michael Casey. Michael, how do you sweat?
Well, I try to run, and then I jog, and if I haven't got there yet, I continue to walk. But I do it in a high temperature area, so the sweat comes along. And I wouldn't have sat here if I'd known that Marty was into kickboxing.
Now we have more board members that I believe their plane is coming in a little bit late, but we have Rhoda Pitcher, who's was our first person we hired to be into change management when a Canadian company went to the U.S. and dealing with the thoughts of our Canadian staff not wanting to be bought out by a so-called American company. And so she came on. She did such an amazing job that we have asked her to be on our board as part of our for our culture and for change management. So we valuable part of the board. We have Roanne Costin, who started off as an analyst for The Gap when she was young and grew up and ended up in the private equity business, and now has got an investment in 4 or 5 different companies, a couple of them being apparel, and also has an aspiration to be governor of Massachusetts at some point in her life. Fantastic woman. And Tom Stemberg, good friend of mine. We're on a couple of other boards. Tom was the founder of Staples and was the CEO. I'm just going to pick a number for 20 years. Did an amazing job, and we're very fortunate to have him. Amazing guy. And I think that's it. Beside Christine, and Christine, how do you sweat, Christine? Good. Okay. Great. So that's our board. I hope you get a sense for them. And really, the board's job is to create succession planning for upper management and CEO, to do oversight on risk, to make sure the company's not risking so much that we won't stay in business. And number 3 is to approve long-term strategy. And number 4 is to approve the following year's operating plan and budget. So you get an idea. So thank you from all of us. Thank you.
Alrighty, well, that concludes our first international unmeeting down here in Australia. We thank you all for tuning in, and we can't wait to see you guys next time. See you later.